All right, let's see if this works. So I just finished reading this book this afternoon. What a sweetheart. I'm sad that I finished reading it, but the thing is, I'm like, well, now you can get on to the other books. And this week I picked up, during the past week, let's say the past 7 days, I picked up a ton of books from a bunch of different sources, and there's a lot more on their way. Primarily due to that 2-day symposium that he did. They just had so many books on the list, and here's actually one of them. So I picked that up via Amazon or whatever, Just and Unjust Wars. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but some of these I'm definitely going to be discussing. This one I picked up due to the fact, oh, darn it! I can't remember why I decided to pick up. I think it was probably from one of the talks that I attended. The Educated Soldier. Anyways, looking forward to reading this. It's going to hopefully be a different take on Douglas Haig. And get some more things. I just picked this up yesterday at Salvation Army, To Conquer Hell, the Meuse, Argonne, 1918 epic battle that ended the First World War. I just popped on over just to see if they had it there. This one I picked up at the thrift store. I'm not really sure if I mentioned it before, but I'm mentioning it again if I did. But not all these books, as you can see, are directly just Great War related. But some of them do hover around. You'll see. This one I picked up at, I do believe, the Salvation Army. Doesn't really matter. But so that's volume 2. I've got volume 1 from Tim Cook about the Canadian troops in the Great War. So that's going to be an interesting one to have. And I also picked this one up, The Madman and the Butcher. I'm not really sure which, if I picked it, doesn't really matter, the thrift store or Salvation Army, but I guess I could, yep, that would be the thrift store. So there's another Tim Cook book. Picked this up yesterday at the Salvation Army, Europe Since Napoleon. I thought that would be a pretty good idea to pick this up. It's got some really good chapters here. Let's see if I can show you. It's like, oh yes, please. So it's got Europe in 1815, and it goes all the way up. So I get to find out all about all the rebellions and the things about starting to get into nationhood and so on and so forth. It's gonna be. I'm really interested. Struggle for Mastery in Europe, 1948 to 1918 by A.J.P. Taylor. I also picked that up at the Salvation Army. Really, really happy. This one they also had at the Salvation Army. It's my third. Sorry, it's my third copy of the Guns of August. But I'd never. And I know the cover, the protector thingamajig is in really rough shape. But I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna keep this copy myself, and the other ones I'll go. Oh my God, General Francois. That's the dude that caused all the grief there with the Battle of Guminen or whatever. I do believe, he caused everything to start getting in that way with Prittwitz and everything. Interesting. Proud Tower, that was also, I'm not really sure if it doesn't, yet again, Barbara Tuchman, and it's about a portrait of the war, the world before the war, 1890 and 1914. Really, really, really have I done a good job this week for these past 7 days. So this was at, I went to the doctor's, to my doctor's today, and on the walked home, and I stopped off at Chapters, and holy moly, I was really surprised at how many Great War books they had. Most of these were relatively cheap, as you can see, $5 or $10. Not all of them. There was one I paid $56 for. I'll show it to you in a minute. The Englishman's Daughter. This looks really, really interesting. Let's see, was it written here or in the back? In the First World War, 4 British soldiers found themselves trapped behind enemy lines on the Western Front. They were forced to hide in the tiny village of Villeret, whose inhabitants made the courageous decision to shelter the fugitives until they could pass as Picard peasants. The Englishman's Daughter is the never-before-told story of these extraordinary men, their protectors, and of the haunting love affair between Private Robert Digby and Claire de Seine, the most beautiful woman in Villeret. Their passion would result in the birth of a child known as the Englishman's Daughter, and in an act of unspeakable betrayal, a tragic legacy that would haunt the village for generations to come. Oh yeah, that looks really interesting. And this one was also at Chapters, and I'm going to be using, oh look at there, there's a spad right up at the top there. I'm going to be using this for sure because I wanted to find out about that video of the captured plane in Greece. That was done, I showed in the last live stream, and they mentioned it was a Taube, and I'm like, no, it isn't. First of all, it's a two-seater biplane, so it's certainly not a Taube. This is the $56 book I picked up, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. History of the Great War, 1914-1918, the Eastern Front. I picked it up primarily due to the fact that at this moment, maybe later on I will enjoy it, but I was like, you know what, I want to, I'm just not really into the Prit Buttar trilogy of, I'm using them more as a resource, but not as a full-on read. This seemed a little bit more of an interesting read, so I'm hoping I can get a good chunk of that. Got this also as at the Chapters, Einstein's War, how relatively triumphed the vicious nationalism of World War I. I was like, oh, wow, nice. Look at this sucker, holy Moses. I picked this up at Value Village. I was like, son of a bee. So it's monstrous. The 1916 Experience, Verdun, the Somme, and it's by the Imperial War Museum, and it's pretty darn good. That's all I gotta say. Look at this. This is gonna be fun to go through. Zoe was poking around. Look at this. It's like just love it. This is really, really well done. So, and then the last one that, and like I said, I got a lot more coming, but this is another monster that I picked up at the thrift store. I don't think it's by it's not by the Imperial War Museums. But the Great War, Unseen Archives, Rare and Unseen Photographs and Facsimile Reports, The Complete Story of the First World War by Robert Hamilton. And yet again, it's more like that type of stuff. So this ought to be, look at that. Oh yeah, Life in the Trenches, the whole 9 yards. Yep, that's going to be fun. Anyways, more books. Yep, I was saying to somebody this morning, I should probably go to Book Buyers Anonymous, but no, I won't do that. All right, hope you're having fun. See ya.